Okay, so let's move on to testing, and I'm going to use Enforcer as an example because my plugin actually installs a unit test as well to go along with the service and the traits that it had. So we're just going to jump into here. I'm just going to close all those. And basically, let's see. So I have the Enforcer spec, and within here, basically, the unit tests within Grails, they use Spock framework by default, and that allows you to do even better tests than what I'm going to show you here. You can do some more data-driven type tests, but I'm just going to show you some very basic tests. So this particular one, I'm writing a test for a service, and I'm basically mocking out the domains that I'm going to be using, which is the role, the user role, and the domain role. This is important. If you forget one of the domains that your test actually uses in its operation, you will get an error. The class extends specification. There is a setup, and I believe this gets run every time a test is run. I know there's different connotations with that you can actually do within a test for specific tests and things like that. But so this is just some setup code that I'm using. Setting up domains that I'll actually use in the individual tests. And basically within the test, I have a when and a then. These are, there is debate about the indentation of these. I've been told that you should never indent these, whatever. I like actually seeing the indentation just because I think it looks a little cleaner, but that's a personal preference. Do with it as you will, depending on how you set up your particular IDE. There I know if you go deeper into Spock, you can do things, that are like even better than what I'm going to be showing here, where I just set up values and then I check them in the when and thens. But this just gives you a basic idea of some of the structure you can do, and you can go deeper within Spock and actually test other things. So within that, the way I usually run these is through a Gradle command, just because I found this is the best way so that I can actually debug these, and it'll actually run all the tests. Because if you have, say, an older application that has JUnit tests, you can include like the dependencies in your build.gradle for JUnit and have this run both sets of tests. But depending on how you run it, I've seen things work, better one way or the other, and I found that within this, and I don't remember which subset it's under, builds, setup, distribution, help, IDE, other. Well, actually, you could just click this and run test, and this will create a run configuration anyways, which will be a Gradle one. And basically I have that already set up here. So what I'm going to do, just so that you can see a debug point, I'm just going to set one of those and run this in debug mode. So this will run all the unit tests, including all those specifications that were just generated for us, and most of those will probably just fail right out of the box. It caught the breakpoint, so I could inspect something here, step through or whatnot. I'm just gonna hit the run, and so that it runs through, and I'm gonna go back to the console, and within Grails you'll see all the various tests that were run. So for Enforcer, all these tests run and pass, so that's a good thing. The various ones that we didn't set up, if we double click and look at them, Basically, it's set up to fail by default. So, if you didn't want these unit tests, you should clear them out. Otherwise, you should actually make these into real unit tests that actually test, your particular service in this case, which I, said before. You should probably be testing your services and, custom logic that you add to domains. But other than that, that's just a basic setup for testing. Now, if you want to go even further, you can do functional tests, which use Jeb, and those would go into, I believe, into the integration folder. From what I understand, because I just watched a video from Gretsch, which is a conference about that. So if you want to go further into that, I'll mention how you can find those videos in a future video when I go over resources. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk to you about testing. Next time, what I'm going to do is actually show the DB console, which I actually mentioned a little earlier, and we'll do that in the next video.